Hiya folks, welcome back. Thank you for all the very positive comments and likes on the first video, and you've definitely inspired me to keep trying and keep doing these things in hopes I can help somebody. That's all I want to do, is avoid somebody else having to go through all of the stuff that I went through when I was first trying to learn the Simplex, the wonderful machine that it is. But you just need some help in getting to grips with it and learning how to get the best out of her. So thank you all, and let's go again. Today I am at a friend's permission. It is a 17th century farmhouse. It has extensive grounds. At the moment I am right in front of a gate, you can see, so this would have been one of the entrances into the farmhouse. There are tons and tons of iron signals in the ground, I'm having a wee swing and trying to determine what's iron, what's not iron, what's next to each other. I'm on part 2. I'm on 6 for my sensitivity because 7 just won't do, and I will stop this video and I'll get the Simplex and I'll put it up for you to have a listen to how crazy the signals are, and that is on 6 and on part 2. But I'm needing the sensitivity down, but I'm needing the separation. That is it, to be able to tell what two signals are next to each other in the ground. So if you've got it on field is really good at deep, but it's just looking down. It's not really looking side to side. It's the best way I can describe it. Whereas part 2 is your least deep mode, but it's looking side to side and it's understanding there's two things next to each other that are different. I hope that makes sense. And then sort of part 1 is in the middle. It's slightly deeper, but not as much discrimination between the two objects. You use them in different situations. We'll cover that. We did it a bit in the first video. We'll cover that again. You also swing differently. You swing faster in part 2 because it likes a bit of speed to try and pick up the two different things. Whereas field, you want to go quite slow, sort of a second, a swing, a swipe across the front of you, keeping the blade at the detector nice and level with the ground, nice and low with the ground, but nice and slow in field, quicker in part 1 and quicker yet in part 2. But what I'll do is I'll turn you around on this and I'll try and do my monologues to camera, more looking at me rather than just having to stare at the bark. Still getting to grips with this again after lockdown and not being filming for a while. So I'll get the detector and we'll have a wee talk about what's going on here. Okay, one of the things I want to show you is a dug hole. Now that there is a hole that I have just taken 2 signals out of, and you can barely see where I've actually dug because I'm using a drop cloth. So you open your clod on 3 sides, flip it over, then any spoil that you dig out goes onto the drop cloth. When you're finished, everything from the drop cloth gets poured back in the hole, and then the clod flipped on top, a wee stomp, and you should end up with something looking like that, where they can barely tell that you've been there. So here's the drive that we're on, and as you can see, it's quite an old building it's attached to, and that particular hole there had 2 signals side by side, and I wasn't 100% sure, so I didn't film it, which I should have, because one was a stonking great bit of iron and one was a little aluminium cap, but it was 2 different signals, and that's what I thought I was hearing, but I wasn't 100%, so I dug it. It couldn't pinpoint the little aluminium cap because it just wanted to take you over to where the iron was. So I dug the iron out first, went back, and then I was able to pinpoint the little cap. Neither one are great finds, but it just does show you that if you think you might hear something on the edge of an iron signal, it might be worth taking the iron out to see if you can get more of a grip on the little signal. So what we'll do is I'll turn you off, I'll get the detector up and going, and then I'll let you have a listen to all the iron that's in this driveway. Okay, so at the moment the detector is muted because I don't have my headphones on, so the Pinpointer and her will talk nastily to each other, and we don't want that. I do have it on 7 and I do have it on part 2. So let's take the mute off. Pressing this button here, take the mute off, and you can hear we're already starting, already carrying on. But that's iron. This is actually not too bad in this particular patch that I've now chosen. Right, there we go. it's actually up here where I haven't detected yet. It's a lot quieter than it was previously. You can hear the iron grunts. See, that's all quiet now where I took those two things out. Iron, no, 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 she says. Don't dig that. Now this is on sensitivity 7. This isn't too bad. Where I was earlier, as you get near to the door of the house, you get a lot more noise and a lot more signals and things going on. Now my ear tells me that little beep that you're hearing isn't something next to the iron, that is just a big piece of iron. So let's see if we can find a signal. Right. That's worth digging. There is a bit of an iron grunt occasionally, but I think that's clear enough to give a go to. So let me get my equipment. Remember, back and forth, pressing the pinpoint button, back and forth, so you get as high as you can, forward and back, and that's where we're going to be, right there. So I'm going to mute her now, because we don't want to hear all that nonsense. Mark the spot, and go and get the stuff, and I'll get you set up. Right. As you heard with this signal, it's not really big. Doing Rob Rizzo's method of determining where your center is, he's the history digger, go and check him out. Coming right off of it is there, which is right in front of that V shape, which is what we said in the last video. Right there. And she's actually not a very big signal, so I don't need to dig a huge hole around her. Let me just mute that again. I don't need to dig a huge hole. I will dig a hole maybe coming out to here and around like that, because it's not a really big signal, and you don't want to make huge holes in the fellow's lawn, which are going to look bad, get caught by the mower and all of that, when you don't need to. Why make more work for yourself? So I'll dig this hole, and I will flip this over, and I'll show you how I do it with the 3 sides. So sort of around here, leaving a flap so it just flips over, keeps it nice and tidy. Be right back. Okay, so here we have an interesting development. That's not iron, that is a cobble, a big flat rock that was here in the ground as a cobblestone for this driveway. And when I go to lift it up with my spade, you can see how much of the earth it's trying to lift up behind it. It's a big old stone. I don't want to destroy his lawn, but when I get the pinpointer and I pinpoint the signal, thankfully it's in the clod. And can you see what it is? It's a coin. There we go. Well, let's take that away. So I didn't need to dig a big huge hole for that. That signal was nice and bright and strong. I don't have to lift that cobblestone, though I will check afterwards, after I take this coin out, I will check that there's nothing else here, that it's not more than one signal. But I don't believe it is from the way that it sounded. So let's have this out and let's have a look and see what we've got. Well, it's the current queen, so it's modern, not terribly exciting. It's a penny. Woohoo! But you know what? It's a find. And when you're first starting out, any find is exciting. And for this homeowner, any find is exciting. The oldest thing I've found so far is an 1873 Queen Victoria penny, which is in fabulous condition, and I'll put some photographs of that up. But, you know, and he's ecstatic about that. But every other find that we find is interesting. It's something. It tells you the history of a site. One of the other things that I've found this morning is I found this bullet, and I found this, which is a lock cover. Keep the drafts out. So, you know, not huge amounts this morning, but we've not long been out here. We're making videos, that takes a bit of time, but I wanted to show you. That's the sort of the way you want to flip your plug over. You don't need to lift that cobble. So, you know, always make sure, check with your pinpointer, see where your signal is. Because you go yanking that out, you're going to pull all that grass up, you're going to make a mess, and you didn't actually need to. So, check. Now, for those of you who don't have pinpointers, the next signal, I'll show you how that works. You can pinpoint it with your Simplex, and then I'll show you what you do if you don't have things like a pulse dive. All right, folks, here we go. This is an example of what I think is a signal, very strong, next to a piece of iron. Signal, iron. Signal, iron. If you swing across that, two different things. That bright tone tells you, slow down, look again, think again, as opposed to, where was it? There's a big old piece of iron in here somewhere. Right? That bleep, I will hunt for that one again because that was another signal. But sometimes you'll get a big iron signal. I've lost it now. And it's obvious. It's just iron and it just grunts. And it says, you know, absolutely do not dig me because I am going to waste your time. And of course I can't find it now. Hear how that's jumping around, but there's an iron grunt behind it. That could be two things. That's worth coming back and having a look at. I will mark it like that. But let's see, let's find that big piece of iron. Where was it? Without a doubt, you don't need to be digging that. Unless you're looking for iron. If you've got an Iron Age site, you're looking for everything to do with the house, then by all means dig that, because it will give you information. And it could be something very, very cool in iron. Most people don't want to dig iron, but sometimes you do. That is a little jumpy, but it's iron, and there's not even anything near to it. You can hear that. Nothing there, nothing. Nothing like this signal up here. Where was it? Not that one. There. Going, please dig me, please dig me. So, I'm going to turn you off. I'm going to dig this, and then we'll see what it is. Okay, so when I pinpointed this signal, it went straight down to one dot, which tells me it's very near to the surface. So I've only just pulled the moss back a little bit on this to check if I can see it. I can't actually see it. So what I'm going to do is show you what you would do if you don't have a little pinpointer like the pulse dive or the Nokta pinpointer. What do you do then? Well, let's have a look. Well, let me get my glove on. There we go. You always want to wear gloves. You don't know when there's glass or anything else in that soil, and you don't want to be finding out by sticking your hand onto it. That is never good, especially if it's something rusty. So I'm going to loosen the soil a bit with your digging knife or your spade if you have dug a, if you've dug it and you've loosened it up with a spade. Make sure you go around the edges and make sure you leave yourself enough room, because if it's something good, the last thing you want to do is go sticking a spade through the middle of it. Now let me make sure this is on. Now that's muted, so let me unmute her quickly. Right. Pushing out that button, right? There we go, she's on. So, you've got your pinpointer set on your drop cloth like this. So, there she is. Ignore the honeysuckle over the top. There she is. She sat on that. There's your hole. You pick up handfuls of earth and you wave them in front of the coil. Nothing there. Nothing there. Nothing there. Now, this is fairly close to the surface, whatever it was. No, nothing there. Nothing there. Now, it could be slightly off to the side from where I've actually opened this up, but it's not far, whatever it is. Hear that? Okay, that's what I'd do. I'd just drop it, but it doesn't sound like it was in that. So, again, another handful out of the hole. Now, I think what I'm hearing is that honeysuckle's brushing on the coil and setting it off because she is on level 7. So, we haven't got it with that, so I need to loosen up a bit more. The other thing that one dot can indicate is that it's a big signal. It may not be right on the top of the surface, but it might be bigger. So that's the other thing, is that this might be a larger signal, just not as close to the surface. So here we go again, another handful. Still nothing. Right, I'm going to just take that stick off. There we go, so she stops false sync for that. Okay, here we go. Nope. Oh, I think I found it, and I think here's an example of something sounding super sweet. And look, it's even sounding super sweet like that in front of the coil, and yet we can see that's iron. That is big iron. But even that caught me out, and that will catch you out. It will catch any detectorist out. It will catch Aqua Chigger out. It will catch, insert super famous detectorist here, every one of them, because it's so big, the machine is just picking it up, and it's round. That's the other thing the machines are set up to look for. It's round and it's big. So it's gotten confused. Now what I want to do is see if there is a second signal. So I'm going to turn you off so I've got both hands. But that's how you use the pinpointer, how you use the detector as a pinpointer if you don't have one. Handfuls of dirt in front of the coil, and it will bleep when you've got it, and then you just have to work through what's in your hand. Simples. Hope that helps. Right. Now I'm going to demonstrate to you something that is known as A.S.S mode. Assisted mode. Assorted mode. Insert whatever you wish here. But this is that signal that I heard that I said I want to come back to, because I'm getting a signal, but I'm getting iron too. And I just don't know. Just don't know. My heart says that's iron. There could be something next to that iron. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let the machine help me. So, assorted or assisted mode. We're in part 2. We've got the separation. I'm going to go to part 1. What's part 1 telling me about this? Part 1's telling me there might be something actually just there. Now, that's not because the separation is better. It's better in part 2. It's because it goes a bit deeper. So that gives me a little bit of information. A little bit more information. It's very jumpy, which is what big iron does. But I don't know now. I'm not so sure. So we're going to go over to field. Let's try field, and let's see what field tells us about this signal. Tones are different. You hear that? The tones are very different in field. Field is saying, remember, field is just deep and doesn't really separate things out. It's very, very jumpy, like a big piece of iron. Part 1. Still quite jumpy like a big piece of iron. And then part 2, with its great separation. Might actually be picking up something there, but there's a lot of iron in that, a lot of 4s in there. So I'll tell you what I would do on this. Generally, I'd probably walk past this, but for the interest of this video, I'm going to dig it so we can see what this actually is making this noise. So one of the things that can help is pinpointing it. Because pinpointer gives you the center of it. That's quite big. So it's right there. So if I've now got the pinpointed center, and then it's telling me it's just iron. On the signal I described to you before, where I dug the 2, I couldn't pinpoint it, and it was dragging me over to the side, which is why I dug it to check, then go back and check and see if there's something else there, and there was. So we'll dig this, and then we'll check it again, and we'll see what it's telling us. Depends on how rich your site is, how much you want to do. I think you should dig lots when you're just learning, because that's how you learn. You learn what things sound like, and sound is much more important than these numbers. Sound, you've got to tune into the machine. You've got to listen to what it's telling you. And an aluminium piece will scream all day long, just like that round rusty piece. It tells you to dig it because you have to. You just can't not. You need to know what it is. But, you know, if it's dull and it's grunty, it's most likely iron. Even if there is you know, come down here. I think it's catching the edge of that. But there could be two things there. But my ears are telling me that more than my eyes. Though I'm using the numbers as well. But let's have a dig of this and see. Let's see what it is. Let's have a dig of this and let's see. And I'll be back to you in a tick. Okay, folks. So what we had in that hole there, see how tidy it's gone back, was the bane of your life. Now, this is a bolt, I believe, but nails. They're long, catches them at different angles. There's all sorts of surfaces all over here to catch you out. The machine will catch them. It will be jumpy because it will picking up different things on different parts of it. It's a good solid signal, and they will confuse you. Generally, if you hear grunts of iron on a jumpy signal, even if it's a bit bright, to me, especially in a field, it could be a nail. If you're finding that you're digging bright signal after bright signal after bright signal, but there's a tiny grunt, you know, there's a grunt of iron behind it, and they all turn out to be nails, start learning that that means that's what it's trying to tell you. So that's what that is. Now let's have a go over the place, because I said I wasn't sure if there were two things here. So we're going to unmute our machine. There we go. Look. That's picking up that spade. Move that out of the way. So that's all the place that I thought I heard the two signals, and quiet as a mouse. So what it was the nail sitting across the way, and it was catching different bits of it, which is why sometimes we were getting iron. When we pinpointed onto it, it was solid iron. That's another way that you can tell things apart, and you can start to save your energy for digging up the good signals. As I said before, I still think a new detectorist, you should dig tons and tons of stuff, because that's how you are going to learn. But if I can help with giving you some ideas of where you can start eliminating things to dig, give you that head start, that's what I'm hoping to do. So let me know what you think in the comments. I think that's probably enough content for today, because your mind is going to get sort of overwhelmed, right? I'm going to stop this video and turn around so I can look at you. There, that's better. You don't have to stare at the ground now. So I hope those tips and tricks help. I just want to give you a head start on things to dig or things not to dig. Once you've learned your machine, and once you've started to get an idea of what signals sound like, you need to spend time with the machine. It's the only thing that's going to teach you. Hours and hours and hours I've spent with the Simplex, and I've learned what she's telling me. I've dug up so much junk. One of the farmers said he was going to have to follow me around with the tractor with a bucket for the amount of iron I'd dug out of his field. But it was because I needed to learn how to do this. I needed to learn and listen and understand what she was telling me. And the only way you can do that is with time. But if you spend that time and you're ready to start dropping things off, then this will give you an idea of ways to discriminate between what you want to dig and what you don't want to dig. And I hope it helps. And I'll do some more videos on some other bits and pieces. When I can actually get to a beach, I'll do a beach video, because she behaves differently on the beach, especially a beach with hot rocks. And I can show you how to kind of get an idea of what they are, because they are an absolute nightmare. The way that she behaves, at least on my beach and my soil, which may be different than your beach and your soil, but we'll give it a go. And yeah, and any more comments, questions you've got, please put them in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer them. And I'm going to do a video on the pulse dive pointer, but I do have to put that up with a caveat straight away, saying that I don't use it to the full of its ability. It is a dive pointer. I don't use it for diving. I do use it under the water, but it has many different frequencies, which I don't use. I can never remember how to turn its sensitivity up or down. I try and just keep it on maximum. I've learned how to ground balance it against the side of a hole, so I will show you that. But I'll go and have a read up on it, and then I'll tell you in the other video how I actually use my pulse dive, even though I'm not using it to its maximum capability. Hope you have a great day. Happy hunting, good luck, dig up some wonderful stuff. Tell me what you've found in the comments below. And I hate saying this, but like and subscribe if you wish to. I don't really want to tell anybody what to do. So anyway, have a great day, and thanks for watching. Bye!